When an artist dies, they often leave behind an archive of unreleased music. It's usually up to their family estates or record labels to decide what to do with this archived music and this unreleased music. In some cases, the artist might have completely finished an album or piece of work prior to their passing, and record labels have an easy time just releasing exactly what the artist wanted, exactly how the artist wanted it. In other instances, however, corporate gluttony can lead to labels releasing unfinished albums or half-baked tracks in an order to capitalize on the artist's popularity post-death. This is posthumous greed. To fully understand this concept, we need to firstly distinguish the difference by looking at a respectful example of posthumous releases. Mac Miller tragically passed away in September of 2018, only a month after his fifth studio album, Swimming. A year and a half later, his first posthumous album, Circles, was released, and it's often heralded as one of his best works. It's an emotional, introspective album in which Miller opts for singing rather than his usual rapping style that he was known for prior to his death. It was a companion album to Swimming and was almost entirely finished before his death. So that made it quite easy for his, labels to release it and stuff, obviously. The album was announced and cleared for release by his family estate. Similar patterns were apparent during the release of Balloonerism in early 2025. His family, and most notably his mother, have been consistently vocal online about protecting Mac's legacy and ensuring that any official releases are as close to what Mac would have wanted as possible. His posthumous music has always felt intentional, thought through, and complete, to be honest with you. When you hear Circles and Balloonerism, you feel as though you're listening to complete pieces of work that Mac Miller himself wanted his audiences to listen to. And then we have the other side of the coin. I want to preface this segment by saying I am in no world a Juice WRLD fan, and am maybe not the most qualified person to be talking about this, but I have still witnessed a lot of the events that have occurred throughout his music releases in the last few years and found it quite engaging to look into. I believe this to be an example of posthumous greed. Juice WRLD became one of the fastest growing rappers of the late 2010s until his untimely death in late 2019. The Party Never Ends is his final album, as far as we know, releasing in November of 2024. On a surface level, it looks to be a strange mix of regular Juice WRLD songs mixed with out-of-place features and a Fortnite event. And to be frankly honest with you, that's not far from the truth. As I was digging through negative reviews and garnering a rough understanding of negative fan feedback, I actually decided I should probably listen to this album before I talk about it for so long. And from tinny sounding songs to forced features and Juice WRLD choruses seemingly spammed as much as possible to fill time on the album, all I can say is this album isn't awful, it's just incomplete. It's an uncomfortable listen at times and gives off the idea that Juice's label and maybe his estate were squeezing as much as they possibly could out of archived music and whatever they could string together. And to make it as profitable as possible, let's throw in a Fortnite collab. Fortnite held a tribute event 5 years after his passing, a tribute that felt soulless and marketed to oblivion. Juice WRLD's leaked, unreleased catalogue is actually larger than most artists, and there's plenty of songs that fans have been waiting on official releases for years. But instead of spending the care and attention clearing samples and songs, the label quite visibly chooses the lazy fast lane that leaves a sour taste in audience members' mouths. Our final example is a complicated yet uneasy one. Nirvana's MTV Unplugged was the first official release after Kurt Cobain's suicide in 1994. It's a wonderful album, and one that's often regarded as Nirvana's best, or one of Nirvana's best works. But we already spoke about respectful releases after death with Mac Miller though. So what use or value could a discussion about Unplugged do that we haven't already covered? But this isn't about Unplugged. This is about a collection of songs. Demos, maybe, sounds. A collection of sounds, released as an album to coincide with the 2015 documentary Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck. The point of this video was to look at posthumous music and examples of respectful or greedy releases. This album doesn't feel like either of those things, but then sometimes it feels like both. It's complex, but I'll do my best. Montage of Heck is a fitting title to an album of songs, sounds, recordings, and experiments and demos undertoned by an uncomfortable level of intimacy. I often felt a level of guilt listening to this album, as though I was hearing recordings that I wasn't meant to be hearing, things that shouldn't be public almost, as though I'm not supposed to be hearing this collection of obviously personal recordings. I understand maybe using some of these recordings and snippets in the documentary, but releasing all of this archived audio as an album and then saying, hold on, this wasn't eerie enough, let's drop a deluxe album. And then why not? Let's drop a super duper deluxe album of Doom in a physical release. It's when I saw this that I wanted to firmly stand behind the idea that this was really scraping the bottom of the barrel. To profit off of Kurt's name by using whatever recordings they could find and then tie the album in with a documentary in whatever way works. It's hard to tell if we should be blaming the documentary director or the label for releasing 3 different iterations of this personal collection of sounds and songs that we probably shouldn't be listening to. As much as it is an insightful look into Kurt Cobain's life behind doors, it's almost too personal, and it feels criminal that we have that much access. When an artist dies, it brings many ethical questions about respect for their work and how to navigate a continuation of their legacy. It becomes apparent that more often than not, posthumous greed overpowers this level of respect. It's an unfortunate thing as an audience member to come to realise that your favourite artist might be worth more dead than alive. And it's sad when an artist is financially worth more after death than when they're actually creating the art itself. There isn't a whole lot that we as audience members can do about this fact other than ensuring we cherish these artists while they're still here. When we recognise the value outside of money, the personal, creative, cultural and emotional value that these artists can bring, that's when we can truly appreciate an art or piece of work that an artist has put out. This is a brand new channel. I got 10 subscribers off my first video, so you're probably not subscribed. Make sure you hit the button. It means a lot to me personally, and also, like, you know, supports the idea of being able to make more. So, love.